You clicked because you suspected something was wrong with Prime Day. You were right. In just 48 hours, Amazon convinces millions of people to hand over $14.2 billion. And I bet you're one of them. But what you don't realize is that you're not getting deals. You're getting robbed. And the most disturbing part? Most of you are paying more money than you would have paid the week before. But the fake discounts are just the entry point. What they don't want you to know is that Prime Day operates as a three-part psychological weapon designed to override your decision-making and empty your wallet. The price manipulation is the setup. The real theft happens when they hack your brain. To understand how Amazon pulls off this massive deception, we need to look at the machine they've built to manipulate your mind. Most people think Amazon's pricing system is straightforward. Product has a price, gets discounted, you save money. That's what they want you to believe. But the reality is that Amazon's algorithm changes prices multiple times per day, creating what insiders call a dizzying array of reference points, specifically designed to make it impossible for you to know what anything actually costs. Here's what happens behind the scenes. 3 to 4 weeks before Prime Day, Amazon's system quietly begins inflating prices on products that will later be featured as deals, not by accident, by design. The algorithm tracks your browsing history, knows what you want, and systematically raises prices on those exact items while you're not paying attention. This isn't speculation. A detailed investigation meticulously tracked 200 random products for 3 months leading up to Prime Day. The pattern was identical every single time. Gradual price increases starting weeks before the event, followed by markdowns that landed at prices higher than the original cost. 73% of deals followed this exact manipulation. The Breville coffee maker sitting in your cart right now, Amazon raised it from $180 to $230 over 2 weeks, then marked it down to $185 and called it a Prime Day exclusive. You're paying $5 more than you would have a month ago, but the interface tells you you're saving $45. The price manipulation is sophisticated, but it's just the foundation. What makes Prime Day truly devastating is how they've turned this pricing trick into a weapon that attacks your ability to think clearly. And once they have you in that state, the real extraction begins. You thought this was just about inflated prices, but the manipulation runs much deeper. The fake discounts are designed to create something Amazon calls a high-pressure atmosphere that makes you vulnerable to an entirely different kind of attack. While you're focused on whether that coffee maker is really on sale, cybercriminals are using Prime Day's artificial urgency to steal your identity. The same psychological triggers that make you click "Buy now" make you the perfect target for sophisticated phishing scams. During Prime Day, scammers flood inboxes with fake Amazon communications that include your personal information to appear legitimate. They create false urgency about account problems, delivery issues, or membership renewals. The goal isn't just to steal your login credentials. They want your financial information, and Prime Day's frantic energy makes you less likely to verify whether that email is real. But the scam infrastructure goes deeper than external criminals. Amazon's own systems enabled massive fraud through something called commingled inventory. For years, Amazon pooled identical products from different sellers into single warehouse bins, regardless of which seller originally supplied them. When you ordered from a legitimate brand, Amazon might ship you a counterfeit from a bad actor instead. Amazon finally announced they're phasing out commingling by 2026, but only after years of seller complaints and regulatory pressure. The damage is already done. Millions of customers received counterfeit products while believing they were buying from trusted brands, and the chaos created perfect cover for the psychological manipulation that's really driving Prime Day profits. A mother in Ohio thought she was being smart. She'd been watching a tablet for her daughter's birthday for weeks, waiting for Prime Day to get the best deal. When the lightning deal appeared with a countdown timer and only 5 left, she bought immediately. 3 weeks later, she discovered the same tablet was $20 cheaper at Target. Her daughter got her gift, but the family paid extra for the privilege of being manipulated. This is the human cost of Amazon's behavioral engineering. They've weaponized scarcity, loss aversion, and social proof to create what they internally call a rush of emotions that overrides rational decision-making. Lightning deals with countdown timers manufacture urgency. Real-time notifications showing other people's purchases create social validation, and fear of missing out makes you act before thinking. The psychological manipulation is so effective that even when Prime Day was extended to 4 days in 2025, Amazon maintained the daily urgency through today's big deals. They kept consumers shopping longer while ensuring the critical trigger of immediacy was never lost. Over half of Prime Day shoppers bought items they'd been waiting for, but 2/3 of all purchases were under $20. That's not strategic shopping. That's impulse buying engineered at scale. But here's what makes this truly insidious. The victims often defend the system. Consumers who discover they've been manipulated will still argue that some deals were genuine, that they saved money somewhere else, that they would have bought the items anyway. Amazon has created a psychological dependency where people need to believe they're getting value, even when the evidence shows they're being systematically exploited. The manipulation has become so pervasive that it caught the attention of federal regulators. And what they found goes beyond consumer psychology into territory that could land Amazon executives in prison. But let's be honest, they won't. This isn't just about one bad deal or even one shopping event. You're inside a machine that's reshaping how the entire economy extracts money from consumers, and you probably don't even realize it's happening. The same psychological trick that cost you $50 on that coffee maker is bleeding billions from shoppers worldwide. Amazon didn't just invent a new way to run sales. They created a playbook that every major corporation is now using against you. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a normal price on anything? Everything is always on sale, always discounted, always limited time only. That's not coincidence. That's Amazon's influence spreading through the retail industry like a virus. Walmart runs their own version during Prime Day. Target schedules Circle Week to overlap perfectly. Every major retailer now manufactures urgency and scarcity because Amazon proved it works. But here's where it gets really concerning. The Federal Trade Commission finally stepped in with a lawsuit that exposes just how systematic this manipulation has become. They're not just going after Amazon for misleading customers. They're alleging the company uses something called dark patterns to trick and trap people into subscriptions they never wanted. Amazon made canceling Prime so intentionally complex that employees internally called it Iliad, because ending your membership was designed to be an epic journey. The legal case reveals 5 specific manipulation tactics: forced action, obstruction, sneaking, visual interference, and confirm shaming. These aren't marketing terms. They're techniques borrowed from psychological research on how to override rational decision-making. Amazon studied how your brain works, then weaponized that knowledge against your wallet. But even as regulators crack down, something unexpected is happening. Amazon's own competitors have learned their tricks so well that they're starting to beat Amazon at their own game. And that's creating cracks in the system that nobody saw coming. Remember that mother in Ohio who thought she was being smart by waiting for Prime Day, she wasn't alone. Millions of consumers started waking up to the manipulation, and some of them got angry enough to fight back. Consumer advocacy groups began organizing boycotts. Price tracking tools like Camel saw massive spikes in usage as people desperately tried to verify whether deals were real. The backlash was building. But Amazon's competitors smelled blood in the water. Walmart launched their own Deals event, directly competing with Prime Day, offering something Amazon couldn't match: same-day delivery to 40% of their customers. Target ran Circle Week with deals accessible through a free loyalty program, not a paid membership. The competition was fierce, and for the first time in years, Amazon wasn't controlling the narrative. The data told the real story. Walmart's online sales grew 24% during their competing event, 6 times faster than Amazon's growth rate. Walmart shoppers spent an average of $484 compared to $360 for Prime Day participants. Amazon was losing customers to retailers using their own psychological playbook against them. For a moment, it seemed like the market might actually solve the problem. Competition forcing transparency. Consumers getting real value instead of manufactured urgency. Even Amazon announced they were phasing out the commingled inventory system that enabled counterfeits, bowing to years of seller complaints and regulatory pressure. But here's what nobody anticipated. While everyone was focused on the pricing manipulation and the competitive response, Amazon was already adapting. The psychological triggers that worked on individual purchases were being scaled up to something much bigger. Something that would make Prime Day look like practice for the real game they were planning to play with your mind. By the time you think you figured out the trick, they've already built a new one. While you were learning about price tracking tools and fake lightning deals, Amazon was perfecting something far more sophisticated. The Prime Day manipulation was never the end goal. It was training data for a system that could influence your purchasing decisions across every category, every season, every moment you interact with their platform. Here's what's really happening. Every time you fell for a fake discount, every impulse purchase triggered by manufactured scarcity, every moment you felt that rush of urgency, Amazon's algorithm was learning not just what you buy, but exactly which psychological triggers work on you personally. They're building individual manipulation profiles for hundreds of millions of consumers, and Prime Day is just their largest testing ground. The competition isn't solving the problem either. Walmart and Target didn't beat Amazon by offering better deals or more transparency. They beat Amazon by using the same psychological weapons more effectively. Same-day delivery isn't just convenience. It's instant gratification designed to bypass your ability to comparison shop or reconsider purchases. The entire retail industry is now optimized around exploiting human psychology, and they're all getting better at it. But here's where it gets truly concerning. The Federal Trade Commission's lawsuit, the regulatory pressure, even the consumer backlash. None of it addresses the core issue. They're fighting the symptoms while the disease evolves. Amazon can phase out commingled inventory, improve their cancellation process, even pay billions in fines. But as long as the fundamental business model rewards psychological manipulation over genuine value, the system will just adapt and become more sophisticated. The real question isn't whether Amazon will be stopped. It's whether you'll recognize the manipulation the next time it's used on you. And this is where the story turns back to you. Because the final move isn't theirs, it's yours. So, what does this all mean for you? Every time you shop online now, you're entering a psychological battlefield designed by some of the smartest behavioral engineers in the world. The fake discounts were just the beginning. Amazon has built a system that learns exactly which emotional triggers work on you personally, then uses that data to manipulate every future purchase decision you make. The truth is, genuine deals do exist on Prime Day. Apple iPads at record lows, legitimate discounts on Amazon devices, real savings buried beneath the manipulation. But finding them requires you to become a vigilant shopper, armed with price tracking tools, immune to countdown timers, and skeptical of every psychological trigger thrown your way. The burden of protecting yourself from a trillion-dollar corporation now falls entirely on you. Amazon will keep running this playbook until it stops working. The question isn't whether they'll face more lawsuits or regulatory pressure. The question is whether you'll recognize the manipulation the next time they use it on you. Because if this is how sophisticated their psychological warfare has become after just 1 decade of Prime Day, imagine what they're building for the next 10 years. Share this with someone who still thinks they're getting great deals on Prime Day. The system only changes when people see it for what it really is: